There are days when the mirror reflects not just your face, but a story you've told yourself, that you are a failure. It's a heavy word, isn't it? Failure. It sits in your chest like a stone, whispering that you haven't done enough, that you've fallen short, that you're not who you were supposed to be. You're not alone in this. You've unknowingly joined a vast, quiet chorus, each voice echoing that same familiar, heavy refrain. This feeling, as painful as it is not the end of your story. It's a chapter, a moment, a place to pause and listen to what your heart is trying to tell you. So let's sit with this feeling together. Not to push it away, but to understand it, to hold it with compassion, and to find a way to see it differently. Because feeling like a failure is not a verdict on your worth. It's a signal, a call to explore who you are beneath the expectations, the comparisons, and the relentless demands of a world that often measures us by what we achieve. The sense of failure is universal. It's not reserved for the unsuccessful or the unlucky. It visits kings, artists, scholars, and everyday people alike. Across history, some of the most remarkable minds have felt this same ache, this belief that they were not enough. Take Franz Kafka, a man whose name is now synonymous with literary genius. He saw himself as a failure, calling his own work worthless and asking a friend to burn his manuscripts after his death. That friend, thankfully, refused, and Kafka's stories now illuminate the human condition for millions. Or consider Tchaikovsky, the composer of Swan Lake, who in 1876 wrote that his life was of little worth, that his music would leave no mark. Yet his melodies continue to stir hearts today. Frida Kahlo, too, doubted her art, living in the shadow of her own insecurities, only to become an icon of resilience and creativity. These are not just tales of artists. Abraham Lincoln, who led a nation through its darkest hour, wrote of his misery, feeling like the most wretched man alive. He lost elections, faced personal tragedies, and carried the weight of self-doubt, yet his legacy endures. Consider Van Gogh, whose vibrant canvases now captivate the world. He battled profound mental anguish and crushing self-doubt throughout his life, tragically cut short. Yet, even amidst such intense suffering, he poured his soul into art that continues to bring beauty and emotion to millions, a testament to the power of creation even in the face of despair. Michelangelo, Florence Nightingale, Beethoven, all of them at times felt the crushing sense that they had failed, that their efforts were futile. And in this, there's a profound, often overlooked consolation. Even if you feel you've utterly failed, ask yourself, so what? Because that very failure might not be an ending, but a beginning for someone else. It can become the crucial foundation for another's success. The ground you broke, the questions you asked, the attempt itself. These can be the unseen contributions that pave the way for others to achieve, learn, and grow, turning your personal setback into a collective step forward. What does this tell us? That feeling like a failure is not a measure of your value. It's a human experience, as common as joy or love. Our minds are wired to notice our shortcomings, to dwell on what we haven't achieved. This isn't a flaw. It's a survival mechanism, a way to push us toward growth. But when it lingers, it can feel like a truth when really, it's just a story we're telling ourselves. Albert Camus, the 20th century philosopher who wrestled with life's big questions, spoke of the absurd, the clash between our desire for meaning and a world that doesn't always provide it. Sound familiar? That feeling of failure, that sense you're falling short, is part of the absurd. A reminder that life doesn't come with a clear script. But Camus didn't stop there. He said we don't have to despair. Instead, we rebel. By living fully, by choosing to create our own meaning, no matter how many times we stumble. In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, he imagines Sisyphus, condemned to push a boulder up a hill forever, only for it to roll down each time. Yet, Camus says Sisyphus is happy, because he embraces the struggle, finding joy in the act of pushing. Your failures, they're your boulder, and every time you keep pushing, you're defying the absurd, writing a story that's yours alone. Why do we feel like failures? Sometimes it's because we've set impossible standards, comparing ourselves to others or to an idealized version of who we think we should be. Society doesn't help. It celebrates the polished, the successful, the seemingly flawless, while rarely showing the messy, uncertain journey it takes to get there. But the truth is, everyone feels like a failure at some point. The colleague who seems to have it all together, the friend whose life looks perfect on social media, they too have moments when they question their worth. We're all navigating a world that's complex, unpredictable, and often indifferent to our plans. And in that navigation, we stumble, we fall, we feel like we've let ourselves down. In Japanese philosophy, there's a concept called kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold, making the cracks part of the object's beauty. What if we saw our perceived failures this way, not as proof of our inadequacy, but as lines in our story, places where we've grown, where we've learned to shine in new ways? Let's turn to an ancient text for wisdom, the Tao Te Ching, attributed to Laozi in 4th century BC China. This foundational text of Taoism speaks to living in harmony with the natural flow of life. It introduces the idea of Wu Wei, action through non-action, or moving with the current of existence rather than fighting against it. The Tao Te Ching teaches us that striving for perfection, for constant success, often leads to suffering. The world belongs to those who let go, it says. Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear? When we feel like failures, it's often because we're clinging to a vision of how things should be, rather than accepting how they are. What if, instead, we released that grip? What if we trusted that our missteps, our setbacks, are part of the unfolding of our unique path? History is filled with stories of people who felt like failures, yet went on to change the world. After the chaos of the Warring States period in ancient China, Taoist philosophy emerged, offering a way to find peace amid turmoil. After the devastation of the Black Death, humanism took root, celebrating the potential of human reason and creativity. After the horrors of the world wars, existentialism invited us to create meaning in a world that often feels absurd. In your own life, you've likely faced moments when you felt you'd failed. A job that didn't work out, a relationship that ended, a goal you didn't reach. But you're still here, aren't you? You've kept going even when it hurt. That's not failure. That's courage. That's the quiet strength of the human spirit, the ability to rise again, to find new meaning, to keep walking even when the path is unclear. You are not alone in this. The sense of failure is a cave we all visit, a place where the light seems dim. But the walls of that cave are marked with the stories of everyone who's been there before you. Your ancestors, your friends, the strangers you pass every day. They too have felt this weight. Our worth isn't measured by the absence of this feeling, but perhaps by how we continue to live and create alongside it. If you're feeling like a failure today, take a second. Breathe. Don't be too hard on yourself. You don't need to be perfect. You are enough, exactly as you are, with all your stumbles and scars. The moments when you feel like a failure are not the end. They are the beginning of something new, a chance to rewrite your story with greater compassion and clarity. One day, you'll look back on this moment and see it not as a mark of defeat, but as a turning point. You'll see the gold in your cracks, the beauty in your resilience. You'll realize that every time you felt like a failure, you were actually learning how to rise. Until then, my friend, be patient with yourself. You are not a failure. You are a work in progress, and your light is needed in this world.